this thing, if it's in a relationship, it releases toxic emotions. It reduces pain. It improves sleep quality. It aids in stress regulation. And it reduces anxiety and depression.
Wow.
What is this thing?
I'm not a believer of like, oh, you have to resolve everything before going to sleep. I am not a believer
good luck with that
in
one.
that. Okay?
And that you've never hit anything. Like, I was like, that's a huge thankfulness thing.
It's not that I haven't hit nothing, but we're...
What do you mean you haven't hit nothing?
We don't have to get into that this episode.
You're my sky, you're my blue. I've been sticking with you.
Welcome back to the Good Love Podcast. My name is Paulina.
And I'm Josh. And here we believe that good love is worth healing and fighting for.
Which is why we begin conversations and provide resources so that you can experience healthy connections. So if you are single, dating, engaged, or in early marriage, this space is for you.
That's good.
So last episode, we were celebrating...
Week. What did we talk about last week?
Our 4th anniversary.
On the 4th episode, 4th anniversary.
And
it was
we
a great episode.
Little wedding clips and things like that. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure that you do.
It's like we're family now. Like you seem like you were in our wedding now in a way.
You were at the table with us.
You were at the table. You saw us like dancing and you saw us kiss.
That's intimate.
Yeah, it's as intimate as it gets. Not really.
But today we're going to be talking about something that has been a part of our relationship since we were dating.
Since we were dating, which we did long distance at the start of our dating relationship, which was not easy. No. And I just remember this topic came up in something that I read. And I was like, ooh, like I just felt like kind of like a push, like a prompting that we need to do this in our relationship. Like it's going to be something that's going to help.
And then as I was going through grad school, I remember learning about how this one thing rewires our brain, like so many positive aspects to implementing this thing. And I was just like, man, that's something that we've been doing. And it really has been so beneficial in our relationship. So
yeah, it's one of the little secret sauces, the little secret ingredient that you can add into the entire, like there's lots of ingredients, but here's one that's like just elevates.
You just can't go wrong with it.
It's like adding butter to a good recipe and that like good, rich, yummy butter.
Like vitamin C. You could never have too much vitamin C. If you do, you just pee it out.
So yeah.
So this thing, like you can never do too much of this thing.
That's a great way to put it. Because vitamin C is soluble, water soluble. So yeah, so that's very smart. This thing is water soluble. If you can't tell,
my husband works at a supplement company.
I sure do. I absolutely do.
So like so many of our analogies,
we love supplements.
Go back to supplements,
vitamins, supplements, all the good stuff.
Take your vitamins. But
here's one of those vitamins. Like we're just going to only be vitamin metaphors from now on.
Here's the vitamin C for your relationship. Are you ready? God. We want you to tune in, come on in, lean in, baby. What are we talking about today?
So this thing has some really amazing benefits when you add it to your relationship.
I just sex you up, baby. I just sex you up.
No, I can't tell you. We're going to build up the anticipation.
We're still building this thing.
Yeah, we're building the... So this thing in your relationship does a few amazing things.
Okay.
So like, and this is studied, okay? And we'll put the studies in...
the description.
In the description. So
by
you
the
can
way,
go check
as
it
a
out.
parentheses, one of our friends was like, are these actual studies that you guys are referencing? Like, how are these studies? David, he was like,
oh my gosh.
For one of the TikToks, he
Can
was
you imagine we're just making things up and just saying, according to this study.
People do that. Like, I know somebody that he said like, oh, if I ever want to say something and I want people to listen, and he would say like, a wise man once said, and it was just his own thought. So we will make sure to link these studies.
We'll do our best, and
the description.
If we don't really have the study or have the actual thing,
call us out in the comments.
No, don't call us out. Like, we'll just like say it in a way where it's just like, oh, we heard about this thing.
Yes, but if we are talking about a study, it will be referenced.
Yeah, we definitely want to try to keep, some good information out there. So this thing, babe, if it's in a relationship, it releases toxic emotions.
Oof.
It reduces pain.
Wait, as an emotionally focused therapy, I don't think that there are toxic emotions.
Okay, well, just let it be. It reduces pain. It improves sleep quality.
Ooh.
Who needs some extra good quality sleep?
I love me some good sleep.
I need that. It aids in stress regulation. And it reduces anxiety and depression.
Wow.
What is this thing?
You tell me, baby.
You want me to tell you? It's a little thing called gratitude. I think that's a pretty good intro.
Written, produced, directed by Joshua Miller.
No.
Baby,
it's both of us.
Let's get into this. I think that this is truly one of those ingredients that can never negatively impact a relationship.
No, there's only upside to this.
And so that's why at the Good Love Co., again, we talk about beginning these conversations and providing these resources. Sometimes those things are more difficult and there's a higher barrier to entry. But the things that are like maybe lower barrier to entry, we want to make you aware of so that you are doing those things.
Yeah. I mean, and just for context, when we were discussing, when we were dating, this thing came up. I read a study talking about how people who are very grateful and express gratitude a lot tend to be happier.
Yeah.
And we were long distance. So I was just like, that's already hard. Like there's already a barrier, an uphill battle, if you will, with long distance, because it's not an easy thing.
Not only were we long distance, but we just didn't have any shared life at all. Like there are people who are long distance because they're going away for college, but their families know each other. We could go stop talking and that would have been the end of it forever kind of thing.
Right.
But this was one of those things that would really unite us and keep us connected.
Yeah. And basically I literally was just like, okay, how can we add this into our relationship? Yeah. Which is what we're going to talk about coming up. But since we've added this to our relationship, since dating, we still do it every single day. It has only benefited our relationship over and over again. And it just has made things so much more rich. Yeah. Just more loving, more caring. It just makes things way better.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the practice of gratitude in your relationship. And this begins in dating, through marriage, and really applies to any relationship. But we want to talk about what that looks like when you're living it out and what those benefits are.
Yeah.
So
I think that's great.
What's the first thing we want to talk about?
Well, the first thing that we're going to talk about is gratitude versus entitlement. So that's just a really big general kind of discussion. Yeah. But I think some of the worst people to be around are entitled people.
Dang.
I mean, do you love being around entitled people?
I love it. Personally, I love
being around entitled
being around
humans.
those people that feel like, they deserve everything. I own this. I deserve this. Yeah. Those are just the most fun people to be around.
No, absolutely not. It's just like, I'm telling you, like, entitlement is just such one of those negative things that's like an instant, like, yuck. At least to me. Maybe not to everybody, but like to me, it's like one of the worst things. So like the perfect antidote, like almost in my mind, the opposite of entitlement is a gracious, gratitude-filled person. Yeah. And what does that actually do? That like makes you stand out among people because you are just like, wow, like somebody who's just incredibly grateful for everything that they have, everything that they do, everything that the relationships that they have. You want to hang around that type of person. It's like you can go through life and be grateful for the smallest things the little things that maybe other people would never be grateful for. And you could really view life in a way where it's like, even those little things are like little miracles and amazing things. And how much more joy and happiness will you have when you thank God for even the air that you breathe?
Yeah.
Or even the fact that, yeah, maybe our car isn't the greatest car, but you know what? We are so thankful for that car. We were just talking about it, like how thankful we are for our little car that we have, and how it has lasted us for so long, and how it's just been such a good car to us. We even named it.
We do. Pearl Girl.
Pearl. The name is Pearl, and she's a little white Honda Accord. Love it. She's wonderful. And how grateful we are. The other way that we could view it is like, how? Like, we could just be like, this is just not the car that I want. I wish I had another car. This is just so annoying. It doesn't look that great. Blah, blah. You could just go down all this list. Now, like, which person do you want to be married to? Which person do you want to have a spouse that acts like? Do you want a spouse that acts entitled and just, I don't really like that. I wish I had this and this and this. And I'm not grateful for all the amazing things that we have, and how awesome, like, what kind of spouse would you want to experience?
Well, the thing with entitlement too, baby, is there's never enough.
That's such a good point.
You're never gonna have the good enough everything to really satisfy you. You get what I'm saying? And
that's a really good point.
As I'm just sitting here listening to you speak, it makes me think of, in Peaky Blinders.
Oh,
when
Peaky Blinders made an appearance on the show.
And Tommy Shelby is like, past the war, all of this is extra. All of this is cherry on top. And even thinking about entitlement in my own life, when it does come up sometimes, when we're going through man, we've done all these things, and why aren't we in this other place? And yet, again, how the practice of gratitude slows us down, because we all go through moments where we are feeling that entitlement, where we are feeling that,
we all do.
Well, why not us? Why not me? And yet gratitude completely puts things back into, wait a second, I could have died when I was 11 when I had cancer, and here I am.
Yeah.
Where would we be without Christ? I mean,
like, even
our love story, us even being together right now, is only because of the grace of God. And it just snatches up, sucks out that entitlement in that room.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean? When we instead pause to see. And so, then Pearl is more than good enough getting us
we're
from
so
point
grateful.
A to B. You know what I mean?
How amazing it is to have a car that works, that's awesome, that continues to keep going, even though we don't show her much love sometimes, unfortunately.
She need an oil change.
But she still just keep chugging along. We love her.
Yeah.
And that attitude, though, like, somebody who's entitled is so self-centered and so just focused on themselves, that a grateful person is not focused on self, and how much more you're wanting to serve and be somebody who's a servant versus they're the main character of the story.
Yes. Which is so exhausting.
Which is the other thing that we wanted to talk about, is the difference between the main character versus a servant heart.
And I remember in our first year of marriage, and we'll talk about like some of the challenges that come with that came with that for us, and studies that come with first marriage and things like that. But I remember going into marriage, I was just like, this is a war zone. This is going to be the hardest thing ever, because it's so much of what I heard. And then actually it was beautiful. And I remember in our little apartment that you would say like, man, this would be really hard if I was just selfishly thinking of me. But because I think of you and how I can serve you, this isn't hard. Like, this isn't hard for me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Servants are very grateful. Like, if you have a servant type leadership heart, you are very gracious. You're very kind. You want to help people.
Yeah.
You're not focused on yourself. You're thankful for what you have. That's a type of person that you want to be married to, first of all. And if you have two people who are servant minded, grateful and happy with whatever they have, and just grateful for that, life becomes super easy.
Yeah.
Or maybe even if things are difficult, you are going at it the best way, because I'm here to serve you. You're here to serve me. We are wanting to better one another versus you're here to serve me, that entitled main character. Like, I'm the main character of this story and you need to meet my needs. And I'm not going to even think about you, because this is about me.
Let's slow this down, baby, because it is to say, and none of us are consciously saying, I'm the main character.
No.
But if you're here seeing your spouse or the person that you are dating as a supporting actor or actress in your story, shifting that into viewing that person and saying, God, you created them so beautifully. My gosh, look at everything it took for this person to be before me. Like, I think about everything that it took for your mom and your dad to meet the way that they did. I can't wait for them to be on to share their love story.
That'll be a great episode to have them on. Yeah.
But everything that it took for Joshua, as he is, to be sitting before me. And it immediately shifts the, you're here to be my supporting, to, oh my God, what an honor it is to know you, to love you, and to be loved by you.
Yeah, what a different attitude.
Like, and then how do I show up differently in this?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And how much more when you have that gratitude that you are so thankful to have this other human who is caring for you, that loves you, that is putting their best out there for you. And what does that do to your heart? You want to then serve them. And you want to then help their story along, their mission that God has put in their heart. And you want to see them become everything that God has designed them to be.
Yeah.
Versus, you're just so self-focused and self-centered that there's no room for another person to have the spotlight. I need to be the one in charge, and I need to be the one and you need to serve me. When you have two selfish people in a relationship, you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah. When
you have two people think that they're the main characters and you're supposed to serve me and I'm not going to serve you, that's tough. But when you have two people who are servant hearted and they want to serve one another, I mean, that is just like joy, and that's happiness. That makes life so much more rich and fulfilling.
It's a harsh thing to say, like, just two selfish people, but
it happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Like, that is a thing that happens. Like, if you want to have a tough go at it, be selfish.
How can people that are watching maybe recognize or see, wait, because no one's doing it purposefully. I mean, I think most people aren't. But for people who maybe don't have that self-awareness, what are some things that can let them know, oh, wait, I'm being selfish in my relationship. I'm being selfish in my marriage.
I think that if you are constantly saying I versus us and we and our, I think that's just a simple language thing that you can kind of notice, like, dang, I always talk about myself. I'm always talking about my needs and my problems and my thing. And I'm never really listening and caring for what you have to say.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't look at your partner and go, these are the three things that they're concerned and worried about right now, and these are what they're working at, like, that'll be probably a pretty good sign right there.
Wow, that's good.
Do you know what they're scared of right now, or what they're worried about, what they're fearful about, or what they're excited about, and what they're trying to pursue in their own endeavors? Like, if you can't answer that, like, I would say that's a red flag.
That's good. That's really good. And I love it because I'm the therapist in the room, but you are the incredible husband that has led our relationship and led our marriage. And so, like, even this practice is something that you led us in and incorporated in our relationship super early on. And I'm really grateful for that. I think it's made all the difference.
It's really made a huge difference in our relationship. And I know that it genuinely can help other people. And it's such a simple, easy thing to implement as well. There's a very low barrier to entry on this one. Like, you start implementing this and being mindful of it, like, get ready. You're going to start seeing that instead of being self-centered and self-focused, I'm the main character of this story. You're going to start seeing, like, we're the main character of this story. Like, not, first of all, we're not the main character of anything because Jesus is the main character in the story. Right? So once we have our priorities aligned on that, like, how can you not just be, I'm grateful for everything that the Lord has given me? And I have a God-centered mentality versus a self-centered mentality.
I love that, baby. And I think the other really powerful thing about gratitude is that it completely interrupts negativity. It completely...
that's good.
Like, there have been times when I've been upset with you and I'm mad with you. And this practice of gratitude has made me stop in my tracks and go through the files in my brain to find, no, what's the one thing? And I think the other thing is with negativity, even if it wasn't something that you did, but maybe we were going through a tough time financially, or I was just struggling in grad school, whatever the case was, this practice of pausing to find something that you did today, something that I'm grateful for today, has forced me to find the light and the good, even in really tough times that we've gone through.
Yeah. So that's the third thing right there. And this is the secret sauce that we practice, that we started to practice, which is what we call our thankfulness thing.
If we ever have a sleepover, you are going to see me step away or at least text something, because every night
since dating, we implemented one thing, which is called our thankfulness thing.
Yeah.
And that thankfulness thing, it could be about the person, about who they are as a human, or something that they did that day.
Yep.
Or something that they are doing and accomplishing, or whatever the case might be. It has to be something that you are thankful for about the other person.
And by the way, in moments when I was upset with Josh, I had tried to be like, I'm thankful for a new day. And it's like, nope, it has to be about your person.
Yeah. And well, we do this right before going to sleep.
Yep.
So we will say our thankfulness thing and then we pray. And that's just a nightly routine that we have established since forever. So this thankfulness thing is right before we go to sleep, which is interesting because it actually, being grateful and having gratitude helps improve sleep quality.
And we
which
both
is fantastic.
Sleep good.
And we sleep great. You know, like, that's a wonderful thing that God has blessed us with.
We just learned about that this week, by the way. We're like, what? Oh my gosh.
I know. And that's like an amazing thing. And so, like, all the benefits that I talked about at the beginning, gratitude, everything that we're talking about will improve all those things.
And with that practice, baby, I feel like one of my favorite things that it's done is that it makes me notice you. Yeah. Like, where are you at today? So even like Sunday, Sunday we were going to go to Barnes & Noble to pick up a gift for a friend. Yeah. And I wanted coffee. And I said, babe, I want Starbucks or whatever the case is. And they have them at Barnes & Noble, but
it ain't the same.
It's not the same. And so I said to you, no, but I don't want the Starbucks inside the Barnes & Noble. I want real Starbucks. And it was like immediately, you didn't say, babe, but we got to go. Like, you know, we have people coming over later. We got to pick up, whatever the case is. You were like, you whipped that car around and you were like, there's a Starbucks right over there. Let's go grab some coffee for you.
Yeah. Like, those are the wonderful, beautiful moments of life.
And in that moment, I immediately, like, that's my gratefulness thing for tonight.
That's going to be, you're saving it for what, because you know that we're going to do this.
That's my thankfulness thing.
You know, we're going to say it, so you have something.
It's like we notice those things. We take a little snapshot of it. And that's my thankfulness thing for tonight. And sure enough, that night, I let you know how thankful I was that you paused from your efficient mindset that you typically are
Yeah.
to say, I'm going to have this coffee with my wife.
Yep.
I was so giddy in that little 15-minute coffee date.
It was so nice.
And I think that that's such a powerful aspect of this daily practice, is that throughout the day, you're then being mindful to notice, oh, wait, I just got in the car and I know that last night it was on E and now it's full.
Exactly.
And I didn't have to stress about getting to work today. That's my thankfulness thing for tonight.
And it's such a simple thing. Like it's not hard. And it's such a simple thing to implement. Just before you go to sleep, say something that you're thankful for in the other person.
Yep.
And let's say it's not like, oh, you did this or this or this. It could just be like, you know what? I'm just so thankful that you're a kind person. I'm just so thankful that you are an amazing father, mother. You're an amazing brother. You're an amazing provider and you work really hard. Like, I'm so thankful you're not lazy, you know? And just watch when you start saying those things, just watch as other things start coming up. You know, like I notice, at least when I say my thankfulness thing, as I start saying my thankfulness thing, more things come up and I then tell you those things. And I think it really is such a beautiful thing, because a lot of us just want to feel appreciated and noticed. And this thankfulness thing really helps to appreciate and notice what your partner is doing.
And the beautiful thing is that it also then fosters empathy. And I can't tell you how many times couples come into therapy and it's like they can't even look at each other. It's been so long since they've tried to experience life through the shoes of their partner. And so like even getting that connection, right? Taking some time. And yet when we practice gratitude, it just fosters that empathy, because it's just like, wait, I'm taking time to notice, oh, hold up. Josh worked a full-on workday today and still showed up to record this podcast. You know what I mean? Like, right. And it just softens us. And so the other side of this that I love, that has really come up for us sometimes too, is I'm upset with you.
Yeah, these are the best ones.
I'm not a believer of like, oh, you have to resolve everything before going to sleep. I am not a believer
good luck with that in one.
That. Okay? I think, of course, we shouldn't go to sleep in anger.
And there's tricks that we could talk about.
So it's not like in seething anger. Of course not. But do we come to a conflict resolution before going to bed? No. Because sometimes I just need to get my sleep and then I wake up the next day. Yeah. And it's not that big a deal. Okay. But even in that, we haven't come to a conflict resolution. I'm still not feeling great about this thing. We still,
even in the frustration,
say our thankfulness thing.
And we'll still say it. And it is like the hardest thing, because I'll be mad.
Those be a little shorter.
I'll be mad and I'll just be like, I'm just thankful. And then you just have to figure something. Like, I'm telling you, you'll blank.
Yep.
And you'll have like nothing. And then it's like, okay, I have to say something. And it can't be petty or like a little smart comment. It has to be something that I'm thankful for. And that sometimes it actually brought conflict resolution before we went to sleep.
It's true.
And then you go, it just softened the heart. It just all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's so funny because we never just both go silently. One of us always says, tonight I'm thankful for. You know what I mean? Or what's your thankfulness thing?
Yeah,
because
that's the question. So somebody will always say that.
We've stacked that habit with prayer, I feel like.
Yep.
And we pray before we go to. So it's like, I love that we did that. And it wasn't consciously.
Yep.
But it really does then soften the heart.
Right.
Or even when it doesn't and I'm still upset, it helps me to, this is the man, this is the husband that God has given me. Lord, what is one thing that you love about him? Because I gotta get my thankfulness thing in, you know?
You got to do it. And it's like one of those things, non-negotiable. We go to sleep, we're going to say our thankfulness thing before we go to sleep. This is what we've agreed to. So it really forces us to then go, I'm mad at this person, but I'm just so thankful that you cleaned the house today. And that you cleaned the bathrooms. And I saw that, and I'm just really thankful that you did that. And that's it. You don't have to say more than that. It's just, you have to say your thankfulness thing. If more comes, great. But just as simple as that, just say what you're grateful for and the other person.
So if this isn't a practice in your relationship, we really want to encourage you to start doing this. It really has been, I think, a pillar in our relationship.
It's one of the pillars for sure. It's one of those like things that if I could recommend something that will make a difference right away in your life, and you go and start practicing this with expectancy that it's going to do something in our relationship, whether you're in a great place right now or whether you're in a bad place right now, practicing this is going to really make a difference in your life. Even if you're single, like practicing the gratitude in the moment.
That's so good.
And practicing gratitude and thanking God for the relationships that you have, for what you have, what God has blessed you with. And you come like, I mean, now you're just like this incredibly grateful person. Like that's attractive to potential suitors out there. Like, come on now. Like
Suitors is hilarious.
Yeah. Like if there's somebody out there like, and you're looking and I mean, you're just this really grateful and thankful person and you're just grateful for life and thankful for everything that you have. I mean, that's amazing, which is what I found with you, which is like super attractive. I love that.
Thank you. You know what's crazy though? That disposition actually came from one of your dad's preachings way before I met you.
Are you serious?
Yep. And
That's
I still have my church notes from that preaching. And I mean, having gone through cancer and like my parents remarrying and like all those prayers coming true, I think I was more inclined to just be very grateful for life.
Exactly.
But I remember your dad preached once about like how God just is pleased with our gratitude. And there are just so many verses to back that up.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's so many things that we could, there's many things, but like in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, to give thanks in all circumstances, right? There's a thing that you can just do to be thankful, and you'll just see how that transforms your life personally, and then your relationship. And I mean, it's just such a beautiful and wonderful thing.
How weird is that though? Like years before we ever met, your dad was like helping mold your future wife.
I know. That's crazy. Which is a story we'll have to get into. Yeah. But one key takeaway that I do want to just say, the gratefulness thing doesn't ignore problems or doesn't like push away something that negative that happened. It doesn't just all of a sudden cover that and then, oh, now we just go back to normal. You know, you still got to talk about the things. You still got to go through something that bothered you or whatever.
And we're going to get into conflict resolution very soon.
There still needs to be conflict resolution.
At the Good Love Co. So it's not that it removes the problem and it absolves you of anything. But again,
because like I know what somebody's thinking. They're like, man, if I tell them that though, then they're going to think they're off the hook and they're going to think that. You can even say in the gratefulness thing, like, you know what, that really we still need to talk about that. And that really annoyed me, but I am still thankful for XYZ.
I will say too, sometimes that thankfulness thing, like you mentioned, it can be like an action that day. Sometimes it's also like I mentioned, Holy Spirit, what's something about them? Like you help me and highlight it for me. Yeah. Because like sometimes it's not within you.
I know.
And that's okay. But again, this practice, like I just can't think of any negative sides to it.
There's not a negative side to it. We like in our entire relationship, it has only been a benefit. Yeah. In every way. So with all of that said, we want to do a quick challenge for all of you who are listening. Yep. For this next week until the next episode, we want you to try and be mindful to do a gratefulness thing at the end of the day. This can be anybody. If you're single, married, or whatever. If you're married, do it with your partner and tell them what you're thankful for and have them say it back. If you're single, thank the Lord for all the benefits and things that he has done for you and all the incredible things that he's done.
And even thank him for, in this time of singleness, thank you, God, that I'm able to focus on school. Yeah. Thank you, God, that I'm able to spend more time with my mom during this season. Exactly. Whatever that is, like that maybe for you right now, you feel like I do have some selfishness, I do have some entitledness, or I do have some main character negative energy in this space, that's great areas to practice gratitude in. Yeah. So if you are dating, we highly encourage you to start this practice. That's when we started doing this. And definitely if you are engaged and married, for the next 7 days, like my husband said, what is one thing that you're thankful for?
Every day, just do it once a day at the end of the day before you go to sleep. Just commit for 7 days and let's see how that affects you in 7 days.
It apparently leads to better sleep. Okay, so give it a try.
Yeah.
But maybe you're far away from one another or in different time zones.
Yeah.
But before you go to bed, go ahead and send that text message. Today I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
Blank, blank, blank.
Get it in at some point in the day. We encourage it at night. But if you can't do it, just get that in and see what it does. And we want to actually know in the comments if there's anything that actually like is a benefit. You say, wow, this has really impacted us just in 1 week. Please let us know.
If you literally come back to this video and comment that would be the sweetest thing. But if not, DM it to us. Like, let us know if it's helped you and what that's been like for you.
Yeah.
We'd really love to hear from you guys.
We really do. So do it for the next 7 days. Let us know. We're gonna ask you next week. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep you accountable on
Maybe we'll leave like a little Easter egg in next week's video and they can comment something below if they did it.
I like it. I like that.
Cool.
Now, with that said, sometimes you have to get creative with our thankfulness things because it's like, man, I am tired. I have forgotten what's happened in the day. I'm ready to go to sleep. And sometimes some interesting thankfulness things come up where you just have to like come up with something and you just say it.
Listen, you tired. Some nights you're more tired than others.
And you just have to say something.
Okay.
And it's like, man, like that's an interesting thing. So this is what we're going to do really quick, which this would also be fun to hear in the comments at some point, some of the things that come up. But I want to ask you, and we can do it vice versa.
Okay.
What's one of the weirdest things that you have heard me say to you or that you've said to me for a thankfulness thing? Is there any stories that come up for that?
One of the weirdest things that you've said to me?
That I was thankful for. Do you know any of those or do you want to go the other way?
I can think of one that I said that I was that you were like, what? But I was just really thankful. I was thankful that you cut your toenails outside. Because listen, if I see Josh grabbing the little garbage can and his little nail clippers, he just goes outside to the yard. And
I don't take the garbage can outside.
Okay, well, when we didn't have a backyard, you'd always grab the little garbage can.
A little garbage bag. And
then since we've had the house, you just wander out into the yard and you cut your toenails.
It's one of the best benefits of having a home and a yard is that you can just go outside and just cut it. It goes into the dirt. You don't have to think about it.
I've never stepped on a toenail because those be hard. Those hurt. I've stepped in toenails before, so I have been thankful.
How many toenails have you stepped on before?
I'm trying to think whose toenails I stepped in.
That ain't my toenails. I'll tell you that this much. I clean up after myself on that.
You do. And that was literally, I never mentioned that to you. It's just something that you do.
Yeah. So imagine it's like super late and you're tired. Or maybe you were even mad at me at the moment. Who knows? It was just like one of those
1:36 a.m. And
it's just like
thankful that you
you cut your toenails outside. And it's like,
I never had to step on toenails.
Yeah. That's a funny one.
What's one that you've said to me that you remember that's like weird?
One of the things that I said was like, I'm just thankful that you're a good driver.
That's true.
And that you've never gotten into an accident and that you've never hit anything. Like I was like, that's a huge thankfulness thing.
It's not that I haven't hit nothing, but we're.
What do you mean you haven't hit nothing?
We don't have to get into that this episode.
You've hit something? I'm defining this out now. I'm thankful that you're honest and that you don't hide things from me.
We are so glad that you tuned into today's episode.
Well, I just want to know, like, if you have a weird and funny thankfulness thing, please write that. Something that's like out.
Not too weird, but if it's PG,
keep it PG.
Drop it in the comments. We want to know. We want to get to know you guys. And we want to say already that we're so thankful for this community that we're building. One of my favorite things so far is that there are people who are ahead, who maybe have been married longer than we are, that either comment and let us know like, yes, actually, this is amazing. I've been married 15 years and this has been a blessing. Or people who are earlier on that then are able to learn from someone that's watching and tuning in. Thank you for spending some time with us today, and we hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share this with somebody who you think would benefit from, you know, joining the Good Love Co. and what we have going on over here.
Or somebody, if you know people who need to hear these types of things,
if you
to
know
spark
anybody
good
entitled,
discussion. Don't be
we're
sending
kidding.
it to somebody who's entitled and be like, yo, you need to hear this.
This is not why it was sent to you. No.
Just like, yeah,
please. It was sent to you for better sleep.
Yeah, like if you know somebody who would benefit from hearing these types of things, and a marriage that needs to hear this, that we want these resources. We want our podcast to help people and to start planting these seeds in relationships that grow into full-on gardens that are going to just flourish.
Amen. That's right.
So like, share, subscribe.
And we'll see you back next week.
You're my sky. You're